Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you may be in the world. I want to say hello and welcome to this live broadcast with your host, Keisha Hazlett. I bring to you joy and great greetings on this day. Whenever you may listen to it, I hope that something is said that will enlighten you, inspire you, and also educate you. Our topic for today is simply about productivity and accountability. Who am I? My name is Keisha Hazlett, and I am your nurse entrepreneur strategist, helping you with tools and strategies to transition from employee to being the CEO of the business that you desire to have. My first question to you is, what type of life do you want? What type of business do you want? For sure, I want you to also realize that you cannot have a business outside of having a life that is in order. Because if we don't deal with stuff in our life, it will show up in our business, right? So that's why I always put the two together because you really can't separate them. Okay? So, what type of business do you want to design for yourself? What do you want your business to look like? So, as we begin to think about that question, let's start to think about what are the productive things that we need to do and who do we need to be accountable to in order to see quantum leap steps in our business and our life. Okay? So, make sure you write that question down because geniuses always have pen and paper. And if you're listening to this, perhaps in the car or maybe you're busy right now, I want you to come back and put a pen here. Make a comment somewhere so that you can come back to this video later and watch it. Why? Because I'm going to share with you some tips that will help you. And I'm sure these are not things that are new, but I just want to remind you of how great you are and how great we are together. And also thank you for being in this group, Nurse Entrepreneurship Mastery. So, tip number one is when you decide, let's say you are thinking about starting a business, or perhaps maybe you've already started the business, and you know that in order to meet this income goal, there are some specific things that you have to do. For some reason, every time you seem to set out to engage in these tasks, you get sidetracked, right? Or let's say you don't feel like it, or you don't have the energy, or you don't have the motivation for that day. What I want you to realize is when you think like that, I want you to come back to this video because the world is waiting on you. I need you to show up. And because I need you to show up, I need you to show up. Right? So what can we do? What are some practical things we can do to help ourselves be productive and have accountability? Now, the truth is you can only be accountable to yourself for so long. At some point in your journey, you will have to decide when is the greatest time to grab an accountability partner, someone that will hold your feet to the fire. Only you can decide that. I can't decide that for you. But I'm going to tell you this. Don't wait too long, right? Because you'll look up 10 years from now and you'll say to yourself, I woulda, coulda, and I shoulda, and you didn't. So, tip number one, and I have my notes here. When you decide to do something, let's say you decide you need to raise your income goal. And you say that you want to reach out to, let's say you want to make 5 contacts this month. Whatever that contact may be for you. You want to make 5 contacts, right? So then what are the actions that you need to take in order to make that contact to those 5 people? And you don't want them to just be any 5 people, right? You want them to be your ideal client, your customer, your avatar, your persona profile. Who is that person that you are directly talking to? And we will talk about that in another video about the avatar and what that looks like. Okay, that's a side note. But for right now, I want us to think about the what we're working from here is we have an income goal, and we know that we need to make contact with 5 people, 5 potential clients that are our ideal client that will move us closer to that income goal that we're looking to achieve. Okay, so knowing that, I have to get myself in productive mode so that I can do the actionables in order to make that happen. What is the one thing that we can do to 10x our process? And these are things that I even use personally in my personal life and also in my business. When I am focused in on something, I'm committed. I'm committed no matter what. I'm committed because I know that if I do this, it's going to affect the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. Okay? So tip number 1, we're building our income. We need to touch 5 people. The first thing we're going to do is, with accountability, we're going to put our phone away so that we're totally focused on that activity. Now, I have 2 phones, I have 2 computers, I have, all of this stuff, and I really don't need all of that stuff, especially when I'm focused on doing something, right? So, tip number 1, when you decide that you are getting ready to work on something, I want you to be so focused. And if you don't need that phone, which most of the time we don't, put the phone away. Put it in a drawer, turn it off, and just focus, even if it was just a 15-minute focus. No distractions, so that you can get that particular item completed. Okay? Tip number 2, batch work, which is what I was just explaining about the 15 minutes. Now, I know for the average person, we usually work in blocks of time. Whether we know it or not, we work better if we do it in blocks of time. Well, some of us may work longer time, but if you're focused for 15 minutes, so let's just say I need to make 10 phone calls. I'm going to block 15 minutes. I'm going to turn off all distractions, put my phone away, and I'm going to make those phone calls, whether I get a response or not, for 15 minutes. Nonstop. I made up in my mind, I'm committed to it. Okay? So when we do blocks of time, that really does help us get things done quicker, sooner, faster. All right? So let's say you did it for 15 minutes and you need to get up for 5 minutes, take a little walk, look out the window, grab some water, get a fresh cup of coffee, maybe look at your phone, answer a DM. Someone is probably chiming in about a business opportunity. Answer it and then get back. So then here we go for our next 15 minutes. And you keep doing this for however long you need to do it. Let's say you need to block out 2 hours and you need to put in 15-minute increments inside of those 2 hours. And see how much you can get done. Okay? Number 3, tackle what you don't like. That hardest thing that you don't want to do, that's exactly what you do first, right? You know that you don't like picking up the phone, and you know that you don't like calling and having these conversations, which we all know is when we begin to do that, we grow our business because we're actually having a conversation with real people. And if we don't do that, normally our business will slow down in growth. If we're not making initial contacts where people can see us, hear us, touch us, feel us, meaning the energy. If people don't know that, most of the time they will not connect with you, right? So if that's the worst thing that you feel is the worst thing of the day, I want you to do that first. Whatever that may be for you. Maybe you don't have to call anybody. Maybe you have to sit down and write. And you know writing is just something you do not like to do. If that's the case, I want you to take 15 minutes and I want you to do it. Okay? Do the hardest thing first. Tip number 4, and this was a big one for me because I'm the type of person, if it ain't done by me, then it's not done right. So wrong. So wrong. Someone can do it like you and probably better than you. Right? That's my truth. I don't know about yours, but it sure is my truth. So, tip number 4 is delegate tasks. Who in your circle that you can hire for a couple hours a week that can perhaps answer the emails or perhaps answer the DMs for you or perhaps write letters to send thank you cards or perhaps do something that will help you support your business while you, the business owner, do things, activities that will generate income for your business. And this was a really, really hard lesson for me because initially I felt like I could only do it and it had to be done by me. That is just so far from the truth, so far from the truth, right? So tip number 4 is make sure that you, as you go along, and maybe you can't do that right now. You know, if we're just starting off, of course, we can't, we don't have the funds for that. That's okay. But I want you to start thinking about it and becoming aware so when the time comes, you can get that thing done, right? And then tip number 5, now this is my favorite. Anybody tell you, I love, I wish I had my pencils with me. I will show them to you. I have colored pencils and I have colored pens. And I get my calendar and I color up my calendar, phone calls may be red, follow-ups may be yellow, money made may be green. And then I put everything that I need on the calendar and I also put on the calendar my personal things. So not my business things, but my personal things. Do I need to take go with my mom to the clinic? That needs to go on the calendar. Why? Because that's time. And I need to be accountable to my time. So get your calendar. You can do a wall calendar. You can do a Google calendar. You can do a tabletop calendar. It doesn't matter what type of calendar, but get you a calendar so that you can put down things so that you could be accountable to what you said you wanted to do, right? So, also, as you're making yourself accountable and becoming more productive with these 5 tips, I want you to continue to ask yourself, where do you want your business to be? So let's take a small chunk right now and we're going to make a declaration. Today, we are going to decree our action. So you ready? This is your action. Our action is we're going to declare what we're going to get done in the next 7 days. Okay? And I want you to put in the comment box, #declare, and put whatever it is you're declaring. So as of this video, I'm declaring that I am getting done my 21-day marketing plan. Because if I'm not marketing my business, then there is no money being made. There's no progress, there's no growth, there's no increase. And if you're in business to make money, then we need to be doing that activity in order to bring that in, right? We're not chasing the money, but we know that the purpose of having a business is to create revenue so that we can do the things in our life that we want to do. Or things, that we want to do. Because most of the time our jobs won't allow us to do the extra things that we desire to do. Okay? So, let's recap. Tip number 1, when you decide what you're going to focus on, when you made your declaration, you're going to sit yourself down. You're going to put your phone away, cut out all distractions. Tip number 2, you're going to batch work. 15-minute increments, maybe it's a 2-hour window, and in 15-minute increments, you're going to be laser focused on that 15 minutes. Okay? Tip number 3, you're going to tackle the thing that you don't want to do first. Right? So the elephant in the room, that's the one you're going to tackle. We're going to get this baby done. Right? And we're going to take a bite at a time and chop this big old gray elephant down. Okay? Tip number 4, we're going to delegate our task as we can. You know, maybe especially if you're a mom and you have small children. Can you swap daycare? You know, if the neighbor keeps the children this day, can you swap and they keep them this day? You know, it's not necessarily delegating tasks, but you're freeing up your time so that you can get things done. And then tip number 5 is create a calendar. Wall calendar, desk calendar, Google calendar, phone calendar. It doesn't matter what kind of calendar. Just get a calendar and make yourself accountable. Put all of your appointments on there. Your business appointments, your personal appointments, your exercise appointments, your children's appointments, your dentist appointments, whatever appointments it may be, put it on the calendar. Okay? So, and our last thing we did, our action, our takeaway, because we don't want to leave the videos or our sessions without an action. So as a result of listening to this video, you have declared, or you will declare, what you will get done in the next 7 days. Okay? And I want you to put it in the comment box. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. I love you. And if you have any other questions or concerns, make sure you put them below and I will read them. Okay? Until the next video, you have a magnificent, on top of the world, joyful day. This is Keisha Hazlett, your nurse entrepreneur strategist, signing off. Until next time.